those of us who are crystal enthusiasts have a calling and remembrance to become the protectors and guardians of these sacred stones, as well as arcane knowledge. This is all tied to a sacred duty to be in service for Mother Earth, Mother Nature, and Gaia. In actuality, humans have heard the call of crystals since the beginning of time. Why? Because as a soul incarnates within Mother Earth, not only is our spiritual spirit consciousness connected to Gaia, it is also interconnected biologically and within the energy lines of the body and the etheric body. So we are kind of biological and spiritual beings that are having this human experience on Earth, but there's more than meets the eye. There is energy behind what we see within matter, physicality, the material plane. So throughout history, humans have grown and evolved with crystals, and they've been an interconnected part of our consciousness development, technology development, and healing development. So when I say, most of us have heard the call of crystals, it's not something in the New Age, or it's not something just in recent times. It's definitely something sacred that has been a keeper of knowledge, of sacred objects, of crystals, of healing techniques that has been seen throughout antiquity. And it's just a continuation as we evolve. So the calling of crystals is definitely real. And if you're a crystal enthusiast like myself, do not fear. You're not crazy, you're not woo-woo. It's something within your resonance, within your soul matrix that is asking you, do you want to be in service to Mother Earth when it comes to crystals? And if you are, let me tell you, if you really get into this on a serious spiritual initiate mission as the calling towards crystals, you're going to receive amazing information, and you're going to realize that not only are you a guardian, but you're also a protector of these sacred beings called crystals. Traditionally, there are two concepts to the word Gaia. One is seen in Greek mythology as the goddess, and the second concept is seen as the Gaia principle, in which all living organisms are interconnected with planet Earth, physically and energetically.
Gaia is the goddess of the earth and mother of all creation. Gaia was born out of chaos, the name given by the Greeks to describe the nothingness, or rather darkness before the earth and heavens were created. She was born out of chaos alongside Tartarus. Gaia was the great mother of all creation. The heavenly gods were descended from her through her union with Uranus, Uranus, sky, the sea gods from her union with Pontos, sea, the gigantes, giants, from her mating with Tartaros, the pit, and mortal creatures born directly from her earthy flesh. Earth supported the seas and mountains upon her breast.
First described by James Lovelock in 1979, the Gaia principle describes the Earth as a single living organism with its biological, geological, chemical, and hydrological processes acting in concert to regulate the planet and ensure its survival through a specific array of feedback loops. When we look at crystals in the terms and the philosophy of metaphysics, which actually means trying to understand the nature of reality, we can be more comfortable to bridge science and spirit together to better understand the phenomena of energy and the energy of the planet, and how we can use this matter and energy together to better ourselves and to raise and to evolve our consciousness. One of Gaia's gifts to humanity are her crystalline solids, forming crystal lattice, minerals, rocks, which are the crystalline structures within the planet. When one starts to connect with the consciousness of the earth, one will soon discover that the center of the earth is a crystal. Over time, inner earth transformed and changed and is no longer a single crystal, but an interconnected skeleton of them. I like to think of these crystals as the bones of Mother Earth. Even more fascinating is the notion of the Earth's crystalline grid.
The Earth's crystalline grid is a multidimensional grid of the ascended Earth, holding the template for a 5D new Earth. It is an etheric network of faceted light, portals, vortexes and access points covering the entire Earth's energetic field. The crystalline grid is a network much like the human nervous system, transmitting signals of light frequencies connecting all beings of Earth with multidimensional timelines of Earth's creation, past, present and future. The crystalline grid is the higher dimensional geometric structure anchoring the 5D ascended New Earth consciousness. The crystalline grid connects all beings and our planet with cosmic forces and other dimensional realms. In becoming multidimensional beings, like we were back in Lemuria, we as a collective will align with the crystalline grid, downloading and integrating ascension codes for activating our etheric crystalline light bodies and raising the vibration of Earth to unite in the 5D ascended New Earth paradise. The crystalline grid is a network for us to tune in to the multidimensional galactic communities here to assist us in ascending to higher dimensions, opening new channels of telepathic communication. When we sync with the crystalline grid, we become activated, a beacon for the network of higher light frequency to transmit through us codes for ascension, amplifying the grid's broadcast signal. We can connect to the planetary crystal grid and download light codes, navigational coordinates and energy maps, essentially the blueprints for ascension. Like the Earth's crystalline grid, it mirrors the pattern known as the flower of life or the seed of life, is an ancient geometric figure consisting of interlocking circles. We see sacred geometry like this and others forming naturally in nature, like the spiral. The same is true within crystal structures. A crystal structure is defined as the particular repeating arrangement of atoms, molecules or ions, throughout a crystal. For example, the 7 types of crystal structures are cubic, tetragonal, hexagonal, trigonal, orthorhombic, monoclinic, and triclinic.
Now that we've covered what Gaia is, I hope you're going to start to feel comfortable to see crystals as a sentient being, as having their own consciousness. Because I truly believe that crystals are the skeleton of Gaia and the bones of Gaia. When we use crystals, gemstones, semi-precious stones, minerals, rocks, we're taking aspects of her physical body, the physical manifestation of her body, and we're using a sacred aspect of her body on the surface for various types of reasons. And it's found within rivers, nature, the ocean, mountains, caves, caverns. All over the surface of the earth, we see different types of minerals. And the use of these minerals is not only for cultivation for jewelry or consumerism, but it has an ancient past. Usually, when we talk about why we treat crystals in a sacred way, it's because the shamans of the past have used crystals and understood what it means to be the protectors and guardians and keeper of knowledge within these crystalline formations. So when a shaman uses crystals, it could be for crystal healing, but it can also be for ceremony, rites, and spiritual work. There are many different tribes from North America, Brazil, from all over the world, Aboriginals, the Native Americans, different tribes, different types of shamans and medicine women have used crystals in their ceremonies and in their belief system and tried to help bring knowledge to the world. And we can see that in all aspects of the world. We see that in the ice, we see that in the desert, and we also see that in, say, perhaps the rainforest. So in all climates as well. I just have here a beautiful turquoise bracelet here, and turquoise is extremely sacred in different ceremonies, especially in the Navajo culture. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that, yes, in our modern times we have it in jewelry and it's fashioned nicely and we can get it as a pendant, but traditionally crystals are meant to be used as in their raw form, or they're meant to be used within medicine bags or different types of crystal grids. But now we consume these things and it's not always done ethically. So I'm just going to say that when you are on a spiritual path as a crystal healer, try to find ethically sourced crystals. And if you can't or you don't know, what you have to do is you have to release the trauma that is stored within that crystal. You have to treat crystals like you would a household pet. I know that's kind of hard. Not everybody likes that concept that the mineral world actually has a form of feeling, and you cleanse, you connect, and you store properly your crystals. And by doing that, you're honoring them, and then they will understand that you are honoring them, and then they will work for you more vibrantly. If you don't take how crystals are like sponges, consuming and absorbing the energy, and you don't take that seriously, you're going to have residual energy following you if you're putting crystals throughout your home or using them, and you're not cleansing them, you're not talking to them, you're not treating them like it's something that's real. They're going to project in a neutral fashion everything that they absorb. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So I want to talk a little bit about how crystals are used, and try to enlighten the audience in that when you are interested in crystals, it's not just because these things are beautiful, shiny objects. It is a sacred duty, and I'm trying to advocate for that. So I hope that this is going to give you a little bit more in-depth information on the arcane knowledge that is stored within crystals.
Ancient cultures knew the power of crystals, such as the ancient Egyptians, the peoples of Atlantis, and Lemurians. Each epoch used crystal technology differently. Some say Atlantis sank due to misuse of crystal forces that once opened portals to other dimensions. We can certainly discuss these theories in future videos together, but what I want you to understand today is that our use of crystal tech today is infantile compared to how they used them in antiquity.
It is really hard to decipher what type of technology the Atlanteans were using, but just to kind of speculate a little bit, and what I feel psychically happened is that as they were using these clear quartz, they were using it in a method that they were mind melding themselves with biology and the crystal technology. And by doing that, they were able to open portals to the multiverse and to different dimensions. But a step further is that I actually think whoever, this is just a guess, this is just a psychic guess, I feel that the intention of the manifestation that said group in Atlantis did was of service to self. Therefore, when they tried to create their own universe, this is just my own psychic impression, I feel they were trying to create, like a god, their own specific god molecule or some kind of universe, galaxy, in which they could be the creators, and then they could, have rulership over. And the best example that I can think of is, remember the Simpsons episode when Lisa had a tooth and she put it in this like tub, and then Bart puts Pepsi over it or something, and then electricity happens, and then all of a sudden an entire society of other types of beings were growing in her little experiment petri dish. I think the Atlanteans were trying to do something to that caliber, and because they were not spiritually evolved enough to even do that or even try to create that type of matrix within the universes, that's why there was an implosion. And I think that there were other forces, either with Gaia or with the planets or other types of beings, that intervened and said, hey, you really can't do that. You're not at that level. And I think that crystals are a lot more powerful than we truly understand today. And I think they discovered that at one point and misused it. That's just my personal psychic impression. Now let's take a look at different types of technologies used in our modern world with crystals.
The discovery of piezoelectricity by Pierre and Paul-Jacques Curie in 1880 opened a doorway to modern-day tech. Most, if not all, electronic devices use the piezoelectric energy of quartz crystals. This is a type of energy that is stored in solid matter, such as a crystal, and released under mechanical stress. Quartz crystals were used in the earliest radio receivers and were at the heart of telecommunication equipment in the 1940s. What are some examples of piezoelectricity in everyday life? Cell phones, diesel fuel injectors, grill igniters, ultrasonic transducers, acoustic guitar pickups, vibration sensors, certain printers, and musical greeting cards, etc. utilizes piezoelectricity.
So overall, crystals are amazing transmitters. They can transmit energy, but they can also store energy. So they are great memory sticks, USBs, so to speak. And I remember watching an episode of Sliders, and which I'll show a clip in just a few moments, and they were trying to put their history, their library, their information into a huge clear quartz crystal. And they were doing that through lasers, and they were transferring the information to the crystal because the information would be like very, very large, and the crystal could store pretty much an infinite amount of information within its crystalline structure. When we hear the calling of crystals, it's our higher self trying to connect with our mental self, and they ask, do you want to take on this sacred duty? You always have free will and the choice to choose yay or nay. So if you are watching this so far, thank you for watching up until this video. I know I do long videos, but I just have so much to express. If you're feeling that stirring, that calling, oh, I want to learn more about crystals, I want to do more, I don't know where to start, don't worry, okay? Don't worry. This isn't about how many certificates you have, how big your crystal collection is, none of that, okay? That's BS. All it takes is for you to take some time to be in the moment, in the present moment, and ground yourself to Mother Nature. Go outside if you can, and just connect with the natural formations of the minerals. Take some time for contemplation and meditation, okay? Then when you're ready, you can seek out crystals. Maybe you receive crystals as gifts, maybe you want to go to a crystal shop, or maybe you want to order something online. Start very basic. The best beginner crystals, in my humbled opinion, are selenite, amethyst, and a clear quartz crystal. So if you want to start your guardianship of crystals, crystal healing, or if you just want to get more in tune with crystals, if you can only afford one, then out of those three, go with selenite. Selenite slabs are extremely non-expensive forms of crystals. And the reason why I like to promote selenite is because you don't have to charge selenite. It's good for protection, it's good for cleansing, and it's good for amplifying, and it resonates at a very high vibrational frequency. I feel that selenite likes to talk. They're very chatty, they're very enthusiastic, and they're very basic. People overlook selenite because it's maybe not as brilliant as some other beautiful crystals, but it is an amazing grounding and mother figure to all other crystals. So if there's anything you need to do first is get a selenite slab, a selenite lamp, a selenite stick. You know, there's so many. But if you want to get another one, then of course amethyst is wonderful, and clear quartz. The reason why that I'm asking individuals that are starting out to get amethyst and clear quartz, it's because that is what's most disposable in mainstream crystal shops. You can go to my crystal shop online. You can pretty much get it anywhere, the bookstore even. But what you're going to learn from amethyst and from clear quartz is truly spiritually awakening. You know, amethyst, if you try to get amethyst a little bit more on the lighter side, the violet side, it's going to propel more deeper connections to your higher self and to source. But you can get the darker purples. Just the darker purple is known to be a little bit more in the lower realms. But amethyst as a whole is going to help connect you with your divinity. Clear quartz is when you start to work with the bones of Mother Nature. You're going to learn by clear quartz how information is stored in crystals, how clear quartz can magnify other crystals, how they can be used as lasers, as pointers within psychic surgery or healing or Reiki. They're amplifiers, they're also purifiers, but they're great for crystal grids. I mean, clear quartz is extremely versatile, and it's extremely powerful in its megahertz and piezoelectric. So definitely when you start to work with clear quartz, you're going to learn more about what it means to be a arcane knowledge record keeper as a guardian of crystals. But crystals like to be taken care of. So I know I'm dragging on, but I just have to mention that my method of storing crystals is two ways. One, I do have some out on display, and then the other half is going to be in a dry, dark place. I have a 4-drawer like cabinet, and they live in there. And they all live in these beautiful red velvet bags. I did read in a beautiful book, which I'll post here, that crystals like to be surrounded by red, and you can do that either with a scarf, a bag, or a box. I just got these pouches, and they live in this beautiful pouch. And some crystals live together because they're used as a collection, and some of them live independently. But they like to have little beds, they like to have little homes, they like to have dark, dry, and be stored in a place where there's not going to be too much movement or have multiple people touch them. So I highly recommend starting the practice or the contemplation of, don't just throw your crystals in a dirty sock drawer all over the place. Try to give them a designated place. Now, there's no right or wrong way to do this. You can use a jewelry box, you can be creative and design your own crystal shelves and crystal storage, but I don't recommend just leaving them in plastic or something synthetic or just here and there. And they like to be taken care of. They like to know that they live in one place, and so there are a lot of people that say, oh, well, you shouldn't have like crystals, together because they're mixing its energy. If you're using this for one purpose and this for the other. Yes, there's a train of thought in natural magic that you should maybe not use crystals that you've programmed and then just let them be with other crystals that are not programmed. Yes, they can maybe transfer their information, but as I'm going to do more videos, I'll explain this. It's just a common practice, like you wouldn't do that. So if you're doing a crystal grid, make sure that it's isolated. And if you're using different types of crystals and you've programmed them, make sure that they're not in the same, environment as other crystals to which they could be programmed accidentally, because they are conscious, they do talk to each other, and they do like to be taken care of, and as well as cleansing. So as I mentioned, the best way to cleanse is through white sage or through pink Himalayan salt. And I would recommend not putting them in water because, as I mentioned, angelite, this was a beautiful angelite stone that I actually thought was a different stone that had a hardness on the moth scale of mineral heaviness, and it totally salted and scarred the angelite, because the angelite started to melt and started to calcify with the pink Himalayan salt. And I can't repair it unless I get it polished, but it was a lesson for me and it made me realize that, and they actually told me through my psychic work, a lot of people like to put us in salt water, but salt water, is very dangerous, and it has to be specific times, and you may not always know each crystal's preference. Even though you read it in books, it could be misinformation. So it's best to just put us in dry salt, because there's no water, so that it's not exactly the same. It's just kind of like the vibration of the salt around it, or just through smudging. But my crystals actually prefer to be on a selenite slab. They prefer to go on a selenite slab and be cleansed that way. And then I just put a feather and then I just cleanse my crystals that way. They've told me that. That's my own personal practice. And I've apologized to this crystal, and she does forgive me because it was my ignorance. And I always use this as a reminder of trying to treat my crystals as if they were my companions and how I would like to be treated. So I learn from them. I write what my findings are, And yeah, I would really love to know what you think about cleansing crystals. So we're at that part of the video where you know, we're at the end. Let me know if you you know, had any mishaps with crystals in the past, and you know, if you've learned from it, and what is it that you've learned. So if you hear the calling of crystals, you are a crystal keeper, you are a guardian, and you have a sacred mission to fulfill. And it is a lifelong work. It's not just a 9-to-5 job. It's something that's integrated into your lifestyle, into your spiritual discipline, into your consciousness, and it's part of your own personal, unique blueprint and evolutionary path. And I promise you, if you decide to take on that path and that sacred duty to be with crystals, you're going to get so many wonderful pleasant surprises and playfulness and enlightenment insights from working with crystals. And it's our obligation and duty to talk about it, to write about it, to blog about it, and to share each other's experiences. So that's why I became a crystal therapist, because I felt the calling of crystals, and I'm building up my practice, and I'm building every day my connection with crystals. And everything that I'm going to find and discover, I'm going to document, and I am at the beginning of growing my my body of work. And my body of work, when it comes to this, through my videos or on my blog or on my YouTube channel, is to help individuals to self-heal so they can live a happier, more productive life. Everyone is on their own unique spiritual journey, so I'm not really going to tell you that you need this to ascend or to awaken or blah blah blah. I'm just going to advise you this is one possible path. You choose if it resonates with you or not. Please let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this video, and or if you have any crystal questions for moi. Thank you so much for watching until the end of this video, and remember, dear Stardust, everything that you're searching for is already found within you. I want to wish you all a most excellent day or night wherever you are in this big world. Until next time, planet people,